friends, welcome back for Bitcoin Technical Analysis. I'm Rocky Outcrop, we're all Rocky Outcropticians together on the channel, and in fact there are 289 of us, 288 plus me, 289. Isn't that wonderful? Thank you so much for everybody who's liked, subscribed and all that jazz so far. So what we're looking at here, we're looking at the Bitcoin prices on the Bitstamp chart. This is the 24-hour chart and I've zoomed out quite a fair bit so you can see a lot of price action. Up above my head, the prices are currently 6662, $6,662. So what have we got here? And I know people who've been watching along already know what all this is, but I'll just take less than, promise it'll be 20 seconds to explain it. You've got a Gartley, which is a bullish Gartley. You've got a crab behind that. You've got a Fibonacci drawn in here from down in the lows of December 2018 up to the highs in June, and you've got a couple other Fibonacci's, but one that we're looking at really in particular is from the high in February, Valentine's Day, down to the low in Friday the 13th of March. And the prices currently are operating in a channel that we drew in here recently, and we also have a yellow line here denoting where a potential bump and run reversal pattern could be happening. So that's kind of what we're all looking at overall in general. And down below here we've got the DMI, which shows us that the trend hasn't actually turned around yet, but of course it's slackened off an awful lot. And when we look down the time frames, we can see a slightly different picture. Say for instance on the 12-hour here, where it looks more like it's turning around, and they go down to the 4-hour here, and again it looks more like it's turning around as well. And as you can see, obviously with this channel, that we have been trending towards the upside, so that's all kind of quite positive overall. So zooming back in then to look at where we are just now. We are between the green line here, which is the 382 on that Fibonacci that comes from February down to Friday the 13th of March, and the 618 on that far bigger Fibonacci that goes from the December lows to the in 2018 to the June highs 2019. That's the 618 of that Fibonacci retracement as it happens in and around here, and as well you can see, just generally speaking, that there's a sort of channel-esque zone here for us, and we have to then see, well, where could we be going next, really? Where could we be going next? And let's take a look, I suppose, first off at this bump and run thing and see how it's been getting on. I'm not a massive fan of it, you know, but hey, and it's all right. And in terms of, like, you know, could you have used the sort of some ideas like this and then taken profit off them and whatever else? You know, you're looking at 20% increases in price, so you know you can just accept that as sort of having been a successful pattern for you, if you like, in the same way that incidentally that you can accept having seen the prices come up as far as this X point here, to have been good enough really in terms of being able to take profit off of both of the Gartley and the bat pattern there as it happens, although you would be thinking that that's the sort of the lowest target for you, kind of. So what are we also so what else is there really? Of course, like I say, this hasn't turned around yet, but overall the stochastics are looking decent. They've gone up past the middle part here, and there's not any divergence here that I can see just as a brief glance on the RSI. And we've come up out of the bearish control zone looking towards the middle area, and likewise on the MACD, things are looking healthy enough currently, so everything's looking all right there. But what's the context in the world, really, I suppose? What's the context in the world? So the context is things like we've had the biggest ever sort of pump of money into the economy, printed out money in America, and the $6 trillion or something they're planning on sticking in, or whatever. So as a result of that, we've kind of seen prices on the what's this, the SPY that we're looking at here, go up today, and likewise over on the Dow Jones Industrial Average as well. You know, you're seeing this. So we've also had quite a bit of a wick today here in the candle, and I'll be interested to see how the days today and the days ahead pan out, whether or not we actually get these a continuation and follow through from this big move up yesterday, or if that kind of gets eaten away. We're looking at from, you know, the lowest part of the previous trading session up to the highest point of that trading session is an 11.6% rise. You know, and that's incredibly large for this thing. But at the same time, we're only just kind of coming back up to where we were before, and we haven't really, turned things quite around yet. Unless, for instance, today we maybe would be sitting in a higher high than here, and we could maybe say that maybe we'd have some sort of trend. But it's far too early to tell, and things are about to get much worse, I imagine, as well in terms of the world. And New York, I think, is going to become the sort of epicenter of the world's most popular place for coronavirus and stuff like that. So I feel like that when we see the sort of how difficult things have been so far in some places in the world, and how difficult they're kind of becoming in other places, and I feel like it hasn't properly we haven't got to the end of this yet at all, and then to start feeling positive about this quantitative easing that's happening is a bit premature. And of course, all that then ties back to the Bitcoin price in the sense that if we see a sort of 5 or 10% drop in the American top stocks, then you probably see some sort of correlated sort of dropped over here as well. And in terms of percentage changes, if it were to drop back down to the 236, you're looking at 20% downside. So there's a hell of a big shorting opportunity there, and you'd manage it in and around these different levels, I suppose, if that's how you were planning on playing that. And looking towards, like somebody commented, 7,100 or something like that. Of course, you've got the Fibonacci 50% level in there at 7,200, and kind of like 7,000 itself as being a round number, not being too greedy, is one area to be looking towards that. But then if we break up above and spend a number of hours up in this area, we could be looking to break out above these two. But would I be I wouldn't be getting too far ahead of myself in that sense, because like I say, we've got this GBTC gap over here, and that has yet to be filled. And could it happen? Well, it could happen, and we know from having looked at this recently that these gaps actually do always tend to get filled, and that we had a gap on here yesterday, created over here as on the 23rd of March between the 23rd and 24th, and we spoke about that, and that's actually been filled. So I've removed those two lines from the chart there, and we are looking towards these other areas. If we look over at the CME, we can see that we've still remained inside this sort of just generally this box here, and I'm still wondering whether or not we'll retest this area having come up here before getting above this 786 here on this particular Fibonacci retracement on the bigger time frame here, or indeed, in fact, it looks like I've removed the other ones. Let's stick these back on. Excuse me. You can see we're just above 382, so will we remain up here, and open and close and all the rest of it up and above this area and look towards breaking out of this sort of box, or the question is, will we go back down below it? And if we go back down below it, then I feel like we could have this in mind and keep this in mind, the 5,700 area over there and the 5,500 area on the spot price. It's just things to keep in mind, really. And the bottom of the channel, as well, is a sort of another target with the high 5,000, so 5,800 or so could be, what we could be looking at in the coming days, should things not go so swimmingly well with regards to how the prices respond around about that 6,450 area, where we have the 382 just there. And that's roughly where I'm looking at for managing risk and all the rest of it over the next wee while. Well, I suppose I'll finish up the Bitcoin episode by just pointing out on Litecoin, because I don't think I'll do a Litecoin episode today, that the prices have come back down to the 236 here on this Fibonacci retracement, and I'm quite curious as to how they'll operate in here on this level. And this could be a sort of canary in the coal mine for us, if you want to look at it that way. In terms of this kind of being sort of like a ascending triangle here that we're operating in, and it depends how you want to draw it in, but we're getting towards the point where you could be looking towards a breakout, or of course this could just go on for another couple of days. So over here in the Litecoin prices, although it's not Bitcoin and everything else, it might be a little bit of a canary for us, and we can see if there was potential moves coming towards the downside here on this one, and if there was a breakout or whatever as well. It might be something to bear in mind. I don't know. I've also got a little bit of Ethereum, but I will be making an Ethereum video, so you can check that out in a minute or two. So yeah, thanks very much for tuning in today, and I'll be back again tomorrow, and I'll maybe be a bit more detailed. I kind of took a broader overview today and looked at just little things Normally I like to look at things like whether or not there's divergence, and I suppose this can be the bonus content for the people who made it past me saying buy the first time. If there is any, is this lower? No, it's higher. Yeah. So there is that bearish divergence still there on the 4-hour chart to be aware of. Okay, so that sums us up for the video. Still got that bearish divergence there on the 4-hour chart. Could this turn around here again and see us have come in for at least like another higher low, which would be the high, just down at that 6K area, or even perhaps beyond and down. So looking out for this gets broken, then I imagine 6K 5,900 is next. Is the next port call after that. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode.